Hello, everyone. I want you to take a moment and just reflect on something you've lost. Maybe it's a dream that you had to let go of, a relationship that faded away, a job that you thought was your forever career, or a part of yourself that you feel you've somehow misplaced along the way. Whatever it is, I want you to understand something today. Restoration is coming. You might be sitting here thinking, but Oprah, it feels like I've lost too much. I don't know how I can come back from this. And I hear you. I hear you because I've been there. We all have. In those moments of deep sorrow and loss. It's hard to imagine anything good ever coming from the pain we're feeling. But here's the truth: loss is never the end. You see, restoration isn't a linear process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a magic trick that turns everything back to how it was before. In fact, restoration often doesn't look anything like what you've lost. It's a new chapter, a new beginning, and often it's wrapped in the most unexpected of packages. You know, life has this funny way of pushing us out of our comfort zones, and sometimes the universe or divine forces, or whatever you choose to call it, uses loss as a tool for growth. It pushes us to evolve, to shed the old so that we can make space for the new. You are not losing everything. You are clearing the way for something even greater. After a storm, what happens? The soil is richer, the air is fresher, and the flowers bloom brighter than before. And that's what happens with you. The storm, the loss, it's preparing you to bloom. Your roots are being strengthened. And the truth is, you can't always see it in the moment, but I promise you there's something extraordinary on the horizon for you. It's easy to want to rush the process, right? We all want the quick fix. We want to get back what we've lost right now. But healing takes time. And in that time, there's something powerful happening on the inside of you. That pain, that grief, it's transforming you. You're becoming more resilient, more compassionate, more connected to the very essence of who you are. And yes, there will be times when you want to give up. You'll ask yourself, why is this happening? When will it end? But I want you to hear me when I say this: the waiting is never wasted. In those moments of quiet, in those moments of uncertainty, you are being prepared. You are being shaped for what's next. And trust me when I say this, what's next is going to be better than what you thought you had before. Now, I know this sounds like a lot to take in, and it's easy to doubt, especially when you're in the thick of it. But I challenge you today to shift your focus. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, start looking at what you've learned through your loss. And be grateful for that. Gratitude will shift your energy. It will open doors you never thought were possible. And here's the secret: you are worthy of restoration. There's nothing you need to do to earn it. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone, because your worth is inherent. It's not tied to anything external. It's the very essence of who you are. So as you walk through this season of your life, I want you to know this: you are being prepared for something magnificent. You are being restored piece by piece. When the time is right, you will look back at this moment and realize that the loss, the waiting, the pain, it all had a purpose, and it's leading you to a place of abundance. You will believe in the power of restoration. It's coming for you. And it will be better than you could ever imagine. Restoration is inevitable. It's easy to believe that when we face loss, we're somehow at the end of the road, that everything we've known and loved is gone forever. But let me tell you something: restoration is built into the very fabric of life. It's part of the cycle of existence, even when we don't understand how or when it will happen. Think about nature for a moment. When a tree loses its leaves in the fall, it looks barren. It seems like all the beauty, all the vibrancy has been taken away. But we know with certainty that in time, those same trees will bloom again. New leaves will sprout, new life will emerge. It doesn't matter how cold or dark the winter gets, spring is inevitable. And that same principle applies to you in your life. You may feel right now as though you've been stripped of something essential, whether it's a dream, a relationship, a job, or even a piece of your identity. It may feel like a void that cannot be filled. But the truth is, life is constantly evolving, and every loss creates space for new growth. The universe, life, nature, or whatever force you believe in is designed to replenish what is lost, often in ways you can't even imagine. Even when you can't see the new growth happening, it's there. Just as a seed lies dormant in the soil before it sprouts, you are in a phase of preparation. You might not know it yet, but what's meant for you is already on its way. Your journey isn't over just because things didn't turn out the way you expected. This moment of loss is part of a larger plan, and there's something more beautiful coming that you can't yet see. It may take time and there may be pain, but rest assured that what has been lost will, in its own way, be restored. Restoration doesn't always look like what we imagine. It's not about returning to what was, it's about the emergence of something new, something better suited for who you are becoming. The beauty of restoration is that it comes with a sense of renewal, a freshness that allows us to begin again, stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Just like the seasons shift without fail, so too does life move through its cycles. Restoration is inevitable. It's not something you have to force or manipulate. It will come when the time is right, and when it does, it will often be better than anything you could have planned. You are not lost. You are in transition. And in that transition, you will find your way back to wholeness. Healing takes time. We often want immediate results. We want the pain to go away right now, and we want to feel whole again as quickly as possible. But healing is not something that can be rushed. It's a process, one that unfolds in its own time, and often in ways that we can't control or predict. Just like when you break a bone, there's a natural period of healing that the body needs. The bone doesn't heal overnight, and neither does the heart, mind, or spirit. Healing is a gradual, sometimes messy, but always necessary journey. When we experience loss, whether it's the end of a relationship, a dream we've had to let go of, or the grief of losing someone dear to us, we don't simply get over it. It's not a matter of flipping a switch. There are stages, layers of emotion, and moments of intense vulnerability that we must move through. You might feel like you're stuck or that you're not making progress, but the truth is, every step, even the painful ones, is part of the healing process. One of the hardest things about healing is that it's not always linear. Some days you'll feel like you're making incredible strides, and the next you'll feel like you've taken a step backward. You'll wonder if you'll ever be the same person again. And you won't. But here's the secret you're not supposed to be. Healing isn't about returning to the person you were before the loss. It's about evolving into a stronger, more whole version of yourself, one who has learned and grown through the experience. There's also something deeply beautiful about allowing yourself the time to heal. We often rush through our pain, thinking that feeling it for too long makes us weak or keeps us stuck. But the truth is, when we don't honor the time it takes to heal, we rob ourselves of the chance to truly process what we've been through. The emotions, the lessons, the deep internal shifts, all of these take time to integrate. When you allow yourself the space to heal, you make room for a deeper kind of wisdom, for peace that isn't just about getting over what happened, but about truly understanding it and moving forward in a healthier, more conscious way. And while healing takes time, time itself becomes one of your greatest allies. As time passes, the rawness of your pain will begin to soften, your heart will expand, and you'll find that you can breathe more easily. You'll begin to see the lessons that you couldn't see before. You'll start to recognize that you are more resilient than you ever imagined. Healing takes time, but it's worth it. Every tear, every difficult moment, every wave of emotion, it's all moving you toward a place of wholeness. Trust the process. You are healing whether it feels like it or not. And in time, you'll look back and see just how far you've come. Loss is not the end. It can feel like it. In those moments when the ground beneath you shifts and everything you thought was certain disappears, the sudden void can leave you gasping for breath, questioning the future, and wondering if you'll ever find your footing again. But the truth is, loss is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter that is closing to make way for a new one. In fact, sometimes it's the very thing that sets you on the path to something greater than you could ever have imagined. When we experience loss, we often view it through the lens of finality. We think that was it. That was my chance. I've lost it all, but what if I told you that loss is actually an opportunity? An opportunity to reimagine what could be. When something or someone is taken away, it doesn't mean your life is over. It simply means that it's time to make space for something else. The universe or life itself doesn't take from you without the intention of giving you something in return, something more aligned with the person you are becoming. In the moment of loss, it's hard to see this. It's hard to imagine how this could possibly be part of a larger plan. But time has a way of showing us that the things we lose often clear the way for something even more extraordinary. Think about how when we let go of old clothes, old habits, or even relationships that no longer serve us, we create space for new things to enter our lives. Sometimes letting go is the only way to receive what we truly need. And sometimes what we truly need is something we couldn't have anticipated or even imagined before. Loss can also serve as a catalyst for transformation. It has the power to make us reflect on what truly matters. It forces us to reassess our priorities, reevaluate our dreams, and reconsider the way we want to live our lives moving forward. In this way, loss doesn't end our story, it shapes the next chapter. It brings clarity. It gives us a sharper sense of purpose, pushing us toward growth, healing, and a renewed understanding of who we are. And here's the thing, you are not defined by your loss. You are not the sum of what you've lost or what's been taken from you. You are defined by your ability to rise, your ability to rebuild, your ability to continue moving forward in the face of hardship. You are defined by your resilience. Loss can feel like a punch in the gut, a moment that knocks you to your knees. But even when you feel broken, even when you feel like you can't take another step, there is a part of you that knows deep inside that this isn't the end. It's just a moment, a transition, and you will emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more prepared for whatever comes next. We often don't recognize the seeds of growth until later, after the pain has subsided and the dust has settled. But when you look back on your life, you'll see that the losses you've experienced, the jobs you didn't get, the relationships that didn't last, the dreams that didn't come to fruition, were all part of your journey, pushing you towards something that was meant for you. Every ending is the beginning of something else. It's the chance to rebuild in ways you never thought possible. Loss is never permanent. It might feel permanent in the moment, but it's temporary. It's just one piece of your larger story. It's the point where you pause and recalibrate before moving into the next phase of your life. And trust me when I say the next phase will be better than you can imagine. Life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. And if you stay open, if you remain patient with yourself, you'll see that what you lost was only ever preparing you for what you were always meant to find. We live in a society that constantly urges us to focus on what we can see and prove. If we can't touch it, taste it, or measure it, then it feels almost impossible to trust in it. But that's exactly what makes faith so powerful. Faith isn't about evidence, it's about belief. It's about understanding that there's something greater working behind the scenes of our lives, something that we can't always perceive with our eyes, but something that moves us, guides us, and helps us grow. When we have faith in the unseen, we recognize that our current circumstances, however challenging, are not the full picture. There's always more happening beneath the surface, even when we can't yet see it. Faith in the unseen asks us to trust that things are in motion, even when we can't perceive them. Think about how a seed grows. It spends time beneath the earth, unseen, in complete darkness, before it ever breaks through the soil and reaches the light. For weeks or even months, nothing appears to be happening. But underneath, it's transforming, developing roots, and preparing to sprout. This process is slow, invisible, and often imperceptible. Yet without this unseen work, the plant could never grow. This is how faith works. It's the trust that even in the moments when nothing seems to be happening, something important is unfolding. This kind of faith requires patience. It requires letting go of our need for immediate results and trusting that what is meant for us will manifest in its own time. It's so easy to become frustrated when things aren't progressing the way we want them to. We want answers now. We want progress right this moment. But faith teaches us to let go of control and allow life to unfold in its own rhythm. Even when we can't see it, there is always something happening, something moving toward us. It might take time, but the unseen forces are at work, guiding us toward what we need. Having faith in the unseen also means embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently uncertain. Things can change in an instant. And we often can't predict what's coming next. We can't control the future. But what we can control is how we respond. Faith allows us to navigate the unknown with confidence. Instead of fearing the uncertainty, we learn to trust that the unknown is part of the process. Even when things feel unpredictable, even when we're walking through periods of darkness or confusion, faith reminds us that we're not walking alone. There's a bigger plan at work, one that we may not fully understand, but one that we can trust is leading us to where we need to be. And this is where true growth happens. Faith in the unseen is the foundation of resilience. It's the belief that every setback, every challenge is a stepping stone, even if we don't understand why things are happening the way they are. You see, faith isn't just for the good times. Faith is especially for the hard times, the moments when everything feels uncertain, when the road ahead is unclear, and when we don't know what the next step should be. It's then that faith becomes your anchor. It's the knowledge that what you're going through right now is only temporary and that the best is yet to come, even if you can't see it yet. There's a peace that comes with having faith in the unseen. It's a peace that comes from knowing that even when life is chaotic or things don't make sense, there is a divine order unfolding that is beyond our comprehension. Things are happening for us, not to us. And even when we don't see it, even when we can't understand it, we can trust that everything is working out in the way it's meant to. Faith in the unseen also opens the door to possibility. When we trust in what we can't see, we allow ourselves to imagine things beyond the limits of our current reality. We begin to see possibilities where others see impossibilities. We understand that just because we haven't seen something yet doesn't mean it's not coming. It means it's just on its way, moving toward us in ways we might not be able to fathom. Faith in the unseen is the belief that the universe has more in store for you than you could ever imagine. It's the quiet assurance that no matter how things appear in this moment, something greater is always waiting for you just around the corner. So when life feels uncertain, when things seem out of your control, remember, this faith in the unseen is your guide. Trust that even though you can't see it now, there is something beautiful and powerful unfolding just for you. Hold on to the belief that what's meant for you will find its way to you, because sometimes the greatest gifts in life come not from what we can see, but from the things that are still waiting to be revealed. The power of patience is something that many of us overlook in our fast-paced, instant gratification world. We are constantly told to move faster, to do more, and to achieve results quickly. We want things to happen now, not later. We want success without delay, healing without hardship, and answers without questions. But the truth is, patience isn't just a virtue, it's a profound power that can transform the way we experience life. Patience teaches us the art of surrender. It reminds us that not everything can be controlled, and that some things are simply beyond our grasp, at least for the moment. We can plant seeds, set intentions, and work hard toward our goals, but there's a bigger timing at play, something that we often cannot influence. Patience is the quiet understanding that not everything needs to be rushed. Not everything needs to be completed on our timetable. Sometimes the very act of waiting, the act of allowing things to unfold in their own time, is the most powerful thing we can do. In a world that values speed and immediacy, patience can feel like a counterintuitive concept. We might see others achieving their dreams and wonder why ours are taking so much longer to manifest. We might feel frustrated when progress seems slow, when results don't show up right away, or when the road ahead feels uncertain. But the power of patience is in how it allows us to see the bigger picture. While impatience focuses on the short term, on the now, patience helps us understand that the small, seemingly insignificant steps we take today are part of a greater journey. It's a steady rhythm, quiet persistence that ultimately leads to lasting success and fulfillment. Patience also teaches us resilience. It's not about waiting passively, it's about waiting with grace, with purpose, and with trust. There will be moments when it feels like nothing is happening, when progress is invisible, and when your efforts don't seem to be paying off. But patience is knowing that even in those moments, growth is still occurring. Just like a seed that needs time to sprout or a wound that needs time to heal, the process of transformation often takes time. The effort you put in today might not show immediate results, but over time it will compound, and you will begin to see the fruits of your labor. What's even more powerful about patience is its ability to cultivate inner peace. In a society that thrives on urgency, it's easy to become anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed. We want things to happen now, but when they don't, we can fall into a state of stress and worry. But patience invites us to breathe, to step back, and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. It helps us release the need to control every aspect of our lives, and instead it invites us to flow with life's natural rhythms. Patience brings calm in the face of uncertainty. It allows us to live in harmony with life's unpredictable timing, knowing that what is meant for us will come in its own time. Moreover, patience doesn't just benefit us in the areas where we're waiting for something external, it also deepens our relationship with ourselves. When we practice patience, we are learning to trust ourselves, to believe that we have what it takes to weather the storms and navigate the challenges. We stop beating ourselves up for not being perfect, for not achieving everything immediately. We learn to accept ourselves where we are, knowing that our journey is unique and that we don't need to rush through it. Patience gives us the wisdom to understand that our value is not tied to how quickly we achieve our goals, but to the quality of our journey, the lessons we learn along the way, the resilience we build, and the growth we experience. Another aspect of patience is its power to bring clarity. When we are constantly pushing and rushing towards something, we often miss the lessons that are right in front of us. We're too focused on the destination to enjoy the journey. Patience allows us to slow down and pay attention to the present moment. It helps us notice what's happening right now and what we can learn from our current situation. The stillness and quiet of waiting provides space for reflection, for deeper understanding, and for insight that we might have missed if we were always moving forward at full speed. Ultimately, patience teaches us to trust life. It teaches us to trust that things will unfold as they're meant to, even if we can't see it yet. We don't always get to choose when or how things happen, but we do get to choose how we respond. And when we choose patience, we choose to surrender to the flow of life, to trust that there's a plan bigger than we can see, and to have faith that everything is working out in its own time. In a world that celebrates speed, patience is a radical act. It's the ability to trust the timing of your life, to stay committed even when the progress seems slow, and to believe that your dreams are still on their way. The power of patience is not in waiting for things to happen, but in the strength it gives us to remain grounded, hopeful, and focused no matter how long the road may be. It's the quiet strength that moves mountains not in an instant, but slowly, steadily, and with purpose. Personal growth in adversity is one of the most profound and transformative experiences we can go through. It's often in the hardest, most painful moments of our lives that we are shaped into the people we are meant to become. We don't choose adversity, but it's often the challenges we face that push us beyond our limits and force us to tap into inner reserves of strength, resilience, and creativity that we didn't even know we had. When life is easy, when everything is going smoothly, it's easy to coast along, to be complacent, to take things for granted. But when adversity strikes, whether in the form of a personal loss, a financial setback, a health crisis, or a relationship breakdown, it forces us to confront what's within us and around us in a way that makes us question, adapt, and grow. Adversity asks us to step up in ways that comfort and ease never do. It pushes us to reevaluate our priorities, our beliefs, and our limitations. It shakes us out of our routines and forces us to engage with life at a deeper, more meaningful level. It's in these moments that we truly discover who we are. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty, these experiences act as a mirror, showing us aspects of ourselves that we may not have seen before. We learn what we're made of when we're faced with something we didn't expect or didn't want. We realize how resourceful, how adaptable, and how capable we are of finding new paths when the old ones are blocked. In adversity, we become more aware of our strengths and our vulnerabilities, and in that awareness, we find the opportunity to grow. Personal growth in adversity is also about transformation. When we go through difficult times, we often find that the person we were before is not the same person who emerges on the other side. Adversity has a way of breaking us down, of stripping away the layers of who we thought we were, revealing the core of who we really are. While the process can be painful and uncomfortable, it is also one of the most powerful forms of evolution we can experience. We shed old patterns of thinking, limiting beliefs, and behaviors that no longer serve us, and we are left with the opportunity to build something new, something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our true selves. In the midst of adversity, we also become more resourceful. We learn to be creative in our problem solving, to find new ways of coping with stress, and to discover hidden strengths within ourselves. For example, a person who loses a job might have to learn new skills, adjust to a new career, or even start a business. Someone going through a health crisis might develop a deeper understanding of self-care, of resilience, and of the power of the body to heal. Adversity often forces us to step outside our comfort zones and try things we never thought possible, which expands our horizons and develops us in ways that would never have happened in an easy, stress-free life. What's also remarkable is how adversity can ignite a sense of purpose. When life gets hard, it often forces us to ask the big questions. Why am I here? What really matters to me? We start looking for meaning in ways that we might have overlooked when things were going well. Adversity acts as a catalyst for reflection, helping us clarify our values, reassess our goals, and prioritize the things that truly matter. It compels us to find deeper meaning and purpose in our struggles. And in doing so, we often discover a renewed sense of direction and passion. Through hardship, we find the courage to redefine our lives, to create a new vision for ourselves, and to pursue it with conviction. And let's not forget that growth through adversity also comes in the form of resilience, the ability to bounce back, to rise after we fall. It's easy to think that growth is all about progress and achievement, but resilience is about embracing the setbacks, the failures, and the challenges that come our way, knowing that we can keep moving forward despite them. Resilience is the inner strength that tells us, even if I fall, I will get up again. Even if I don't have all the answers, I will keep searching. Resilience is about learning how to ride the waves of life, understanding that we can weather any storm if we have the patience, courage, and belief in ourselves to keep going. It's also important to recognize that growth in adversity doesn't always mean that things will immediately improve or that the pain will disappear. Sometimes growth happens in the quiet moments of acceptance, in the ability to sit with discomfort, and in learning how to be at peace even when things aren't perfect. Personal growth is not about avoiding challenges, but about embracing them as opportunities for transformation. The truth is, the most profound growth often comes from the toughest times. Through adversity, we become the people we are truly meant to be: more resilient, more wise, and more connected to the world around us. Ultimately, personal growth in adversity is about embracing the lessons that come with hardship. It's about realizing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, that every setback is a step forward in the long run. It's about trusting that the person you are becoming is stronger, wiser, and more compassionate because of what you've gone through. Adversity doesn't define you. How you respond to it, how you grow through it, and how you rise from it is what truly defines who you are. So often we hold on tightly to things out of fear. We fear that if we let go, we will lose a part of ourselves, or that something better won't come along. We hold on to relationships that drain us, careers that no longer fulfill us, or past wounds that keep us stuck in pain. We attach ourselves to the idea of what we think should be rather than accepting what is. Letting go challenges us to face the discomfort of uncertainty and trust that releasing control will ultimately lead to more freedom, more peace, and more opportunity for personal growth. The process of letting go is often a gradual one. It's not something that happens overnight, especially when it involves deep emotional ties. We've been conditioned to hold on to things, whether it's a familiar job, a toxic relationship, or the stories we tell ourselves about who we are or what we deserve. Letting go is an act of trust. Trust that the universe has something better in store for us. Trust that we are worthy of more. And trust that we can handle the discomfort of change. Letting go is a form of self-love. It's the act of choosing ourselves over the past, over the comfort of the known. There's a deep healing power in letting go. When we release the things that no longer serve us, we make room for new opportunities, new people, and new experiences. We open ourselves up to possibilities that we couldn't even imagine before. For example, when we let go of old habits that keep us stuck, we create space for new, healthier patterns. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we allow ourselves to be human, to make mistakes, and to grow from them. Letting go is not about losing something, it's about making space for more of what truly aligns with who we are becoming. The hardest part about letting go is often the fear of the unknown. It's the fear that we'll be left with nothing, or that we won't know what comes next. But in truth, when we let go of what we've been clinging to, we make room for the new to enter. Letting go isn't about walking away from what's good. It's about freeing ourselves from what's no longer aligned with our path. It's like cleaning out a closet that's overflowing with clothes you never wear. The process may feel difficult at first, but once it's done, you'll find that there's more space for fresh energy, new experiences, and a clearer sense of purpose. Letting go can also be a profound act of self-empowerment. It's about recognizing that we don't need to cling to things to define us. Our worth isn't tied to the job we have, the relationship we're in, or the past we've lived through. When we let go of these attachments, we free ourselves to truly embrace who we are, independent of external circumstances. We are not defined by what we hold on to. We are defined by how we choose to move forward. The beauty of letting go is that it invites us to trust. It teaches us that we don't have to control every aspect of our lives. We can release our need to micromanage our circumstances, trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to. There is a peace that comes from surrendering to life's natural flow. Letting go allows us to stop fighting against the current and instead to trust that we are exactly where we are supposed to be. It's the act of stepping into the unknown with faith that life is unfolding in the best possible way. And sometimes letting go means simply acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. We don't need to know exactly how things will turn out. We don't need to have everything figured out to take the next step. The act of letting go is in many ways an act of courage. It's the courage to step into uncertainty, to embrace change, and to believe that everything we need will be provided in time. The process of letting go also teaches us that we are not bound to the past. Just because something was true for us once doesn't mean it will always be true. We change, and with that change comes the need to release old beliefs, old stories, and old attachments. Letting go of who we used to be opens up the possibility of becoming who we are meant to be. It allows us to evolve and grow into our fullest selves. Ultimately, letting go is about freedom. It's the freedom to be who we truly are, to embrace the present moment, and to trust that the future holds everything we need. Letting go may not always be easy, but it is always necessary. It's through the release that we make room for new growth, new love, and new experiences. It's in the act of letting go that we find ourselves, and in finding ourselves, we find the freedom to live fully, completely, and authentically. Gratitude in the midst of loss is one of the most powerful and transformative practices we can embrace, though it is often one of the hardest to cultivate, especially when we are in the depths of pain. Loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, the loss of a job, or any kind of personal setback, has a way of shaking us to our core. It can feel as though everything we knew and loved has been taken from us, leaving a void that seems impossible to fill. In these moments, gratitude can seem distant, like a faint whisper that's hard to hear over the loudness of our grief. Yet it is precisely in the most difficult times that gratitude has the potential to heal us, to shift our perspective, and to bring us a sense of peace even in the midst of sorrow. Gratitude in the midst of loss doesn't mean denying the pain or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It doesn't mean forcing ourselves to be happy or trying to look on the bright side just to feel better. Instead, it's about recognizing that even in our pain, there's something worth appreciating, something that can help us carry on. Gratitude is a way of honoring the depth of what we've lost, while also acknowledging that there is still beauty, love, and goodness in the world, even if we can't see it clearly at the moment. Sometimes gratitude in the midst of loss can look like acknowledging the gifts we received from the experience itself. For example, if we've lost someone, we can still be grateful for the time we spent with them, the memories we created, and the ways in which they shaped us. If we've lost a job or an opportunity, we can be thankful for the skills we gained, the relationships we built, and the lessons we learned about ourselves. Loss has a way of bringing clarity. It forces us to examine our lives and to see what truly matters. Through this process, we often find a deeper sense of purpose and appreciation for what we have and what we still stand to gain. Gratitude in the midst of loss can also help us reframe our perspective on the future. When we lose something, we often feel as though we've been cut off from our dreams, our goals, or our plans. We may feel like we're left adrift, unsure of what comes next. Yet, by practicing gratitude, we can remind ourselves that the end of one chapter often makes way for the beginning of another. Gratitude helps us hold on to hope, even when we can't see a clear path forward. It reminds us that life continues, that change is inevitable, and that we are capable of finding new meaning and purpose even after experiencing great loss. Another powerful aspect of gratitude in these difficult times is the ability to recognize the support and love we still have around us. Loss can be incredibly isolating, but when we cultivate gratitude, we start to notice the people who are still there for us, our friends, our family, our community. Gratitude opens our hearts to the kindness that remains, the compassion that still surrounds us, and the care that is given even when we are grieving. It helps us realize that we are not alone, even when we feel like the world is slipping through our fingers. Gratitude also helps us embrace the idea of impermanence, the understanding that everything in life is temporary, that nothing lasts forever, and that change is a constant. While it can be difficult to let go, gratitude helps us accept that loss is an inevitable part of the human experience. It teaches us to cherish the moments we have, to hold things lightly, and to be present with what's in front of us rather than constantly fearing the end. In grief, gratitude is a gentle reminder that life is precious and that every moment, every relationship, every experience holds value, even if it's not forever. There is an undeniable power in finding gratitude when everything feels like it's falling apart. Gratitude in the face of loss is an act of resilience. It's a refusal to be consumed by grief, a decision to keep our hearts open, even when the pain feels overwhelming. It's not about erasing the pain or pretending that things are perfect. It's about finding strength in the small moments of appreciation, even in the midst of heartache. And when we practice gratitude, we give ourselves permission to heal. We allow ourselves to grieve, to feel the loss, but also to feel the joy, the love, and the beauty that still exists in our lives. Change is a natural part of life. It's the unfolding of a new chapter, a new season that brings with it fresh possibilities. At times, it may feel as though the very ground beneath us has shifted and everything we once knew seems uncertain. But rather than clinging to the past or wishing things were different, embracing change means trusting that this moment, however difficult, is leading us somewhere new, somewhere better. Restoration, in this sense, is not about going back to what was, but about allowing ourselves to be remade, restored, and renewed in a new form, a new way of being. What's powerful about embracing change as restoration is that it often brings us closer to our purpose. We might resist change because we feel it will take us off course or lead us away from our goals. But in truth, change can often be the redirection we need to get on the right path. Sometimes we become so attached to our ideas of what our life should look like or how we think our journey should unfold that we fail to see the doors opening in front of us. By embracing change, we allow ourselves to be guided to new opportunities, new experiences, and new perspectives that will ultimately bring us closer to the life we're meant to live. Change becomes the vehicle for our restoration, guiding us back to the truth of who we are. Restoration through change also encourages us to cultivate resilience. Change can feel jarring, especially when it is sudden or unexpected, but each time we face change and allow ourselves to move through it, we build the muscles of resilience. We learn how to bend without breaking, how to stay grounded even when the world around us is shifting. Through resilience, we become more adaptable and more able to handle whatever challenges life throws our way. Resilience is the foundation of restoration because it helps us see that no matter what happens, we have the capacity to recover, rebuild, and rise again. In the face of change, there's also the opportunity to restore our sense of joy. It's easy to get bogged down in the hardship that comes with change, but if we shift our mindset, we can also find reasons to be grateful. Change, while sometimes painful, brings with it new experiences, new people, and new lessons. As we embrace the changes in our lives, we can also embrace the opportunities for joy that come with them. Restoration through change isn't just about healing what's broken, it's about rediscovering the joy that exists in the journey. By being open to change, we allow ourselves to experience the fullness of life in all its beauty and complexity. Ultimately, embracing change as a form of restoration is about embracing the full spectrum of life, the highs and the lows, the known and the unknown. Change may challenge us, but it also nurtures our growth. It reminds us that we are not static beings. We are always evolving, always moving forward, always becoming. By accepting change as a tool for our restoration, we allow ourselves to flow with life instead of fighting against it. We understand that every change, every loss, and every new beginning is a part of our greater journey. Restoration through change is not about returning to an old version of ourselves. It's about stepping into a new version, one that is stronger, wiser, and more in tune with the deepest parts of our soul. In the end, change is not just a force that we endure, it is a force that can heal, renew, and restore us if we are willing to embrace it with an open heart and an open mind. Through change, we are restored not to what we were, but to who we are meant to become. And in that process of the becoming, we find our truest, most powerful selves. You are worthy of restoration, even when you don't feel it. even when life has knocked you down and even when it seems like everything around you is in disarray. There's a truth that runs deep within you, a truth that sometimes gets clouded by pain, doubt, or past mistakes, but it's always there. You are worthy of healing, renewal, and transformation. The challenges and losses you face do not define your worth. They are simply chapters in a larger story, a story that's still being written. Restoration is not something you need to earn. It's something that is your birthright as a human being. So often we get caught up in the belief that our mistakes, our failures, or the difficult circumstances we've endured make us less deserving of healing. We may tell ourselves that we need to be fixed or that we need to prove we've earned restoration in some way. But the truth is, you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of restoration. Your worth doesn't come from your achievements, your appearance, or your past. It comes simply from being who you are. You are deserving of healing and growth simply because you exist, because you faced hardship, and because you are ready to embrace what comes next. Restoration is a process, one that takes time, patience, and gentleness. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about rediscovering the person you truly are underneath the layers of pain, disappointment, and self-doubt. You are worthy of restoration because you are worthy of your own love, compassion, and grace. You don't need to wait for someone else's approval or validation. The moment you choose to believe in your worth is the moment that restoration begins. It may not be instant, but it's the first step toward healing, toward reclaiming the pieces of yourself that you thought were lost forever. It's important to understand that restoration doesn't mean you have to go back to who you were before. It's not about erasing the scars, the mistakes, or the struggles that shaped you. It's about recognizing that you are more than what you've been through. Restoration allows you to integrate all the parts of yourself, the broken, the healed, and the in progress, and make them work together. It's a process of becoming whole, not by erasing the past, but by accepting it and learning from it. You are worthy of a future that incorporates all of your experiences, all of your wisdom, and all of your resilience. Even when you've hit rock bottom or when you feel like you've given everything you had to give, you are still worthy of restoration. We often believe that when we've reached our lowest point, we are beyond help, that the pieces of ourselves we've lost are too far gone. But that's when restoration is most powerful. In your deepest pain, you can find the seeds of growth, renewal, and transformation. You may not see them right away, but if you allow yourself to believe in your inherent worth, those seeds will begin to sprout. Your ability to rise from hardship, to heal, and to move forward is not about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about showing up for yourself, even in the most difficult moments, and choosing to believe that you are worthy of a better tomorrow. Part of being worthy of restoration is learning to embrace your humanity. We all make mistakes. We all have regrets. We all have moments where we feel less than unworthy or undeserving of kindness. But restoration is not about being perfect. It's about learning to accept that you are worthy of love and care, despite your flaws, despite your mistakes, and despite your perceived shortcomings. No matter what has happened in your life or what you've done, you are not defined by those moments. They are simply part of your journey, not your destination. Sometimes the hardest thing we can do is to accept that we are worthy of healing and change. We may resist it because we feel we don't deserve it, or because we are afraid of what healing will require of us. But embracing your worthiness is the first step in the process of restoration. You are worthy of the space to grieve, to heal, to grow, and to become who you are meant to be. The journey won't always be easy, and there will be moments of doubt and fear along the way. But each step you take toward healing is a step toward honoring your inherent worth and claiming the restoration that is already available to you. Restoration is not something that happens all at once. It's a slow and steady process of reclaiming what has been lost, reassembling the pieces of yourself that have been scattered, and creating a new sense of wholeness. And this process doesn't require perfection. It only requires courage, the courage to acknowledge your pain, the courage to trust that you deserve better, and the courage to take the next step, no matter how small. You are worthy of restoration because you have the strength within you to endure, to rebuild, and to rise again.